On this week's episode, we talk about Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, and other pop culture news. Spoiler alert. This week we saw the new Mortal Kombat. Based on the something video game. Became a movie years later. It's a sequel and then a series of animation feature. It became a highly popular and well done YouTube show. It was like a couple of years. I was in Brazil a couple of years ago. It's like really well done. It's like wow, this is so cool. I can't remember if it was YouTube Network or if it was some other network that did, and it started on YouTube and someone bought it and they have a second season. It's like it was really good. It was like short but like really good, and some elements of this movie I could see. It's like okay, so I guess they got that from the show, or at least inspiration. They might deny, artists and executives how they are. Anyways, very popular franchise, like dozens of games and spin-offs and crossovers and a fighting game, and it became, and the story was, even though the story was simplistic, it had some elements that could be adapted and improved, and they finally started. There's rumors that this will be a trilogy, and there's rumors that this will be 5 movies. Not sure. The what we are sure is it depends on how the movie performs.
Yeah, well, that's always the case.
Yeah, but this
Good
one
box
is like,
office.
but sometimes they sign deals for 2 or 3. This one is like only if it's successful. If it's not successful, it's like no chance. And
do you know how it's doing so far?
It did well. It beat the Demon Slayer. There was another one like highly expected, and so it is doing well. We'll see. The story it's pretty simple. As in the game, is the story of. Can you remember the main story of Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, because it is pretty simple. So the whole premise of the thing is that there's different realms. And Earth Realm, that's us, Obs. Earth Realm and Outworld are mortal enemies. And for some ridiculous reason, someone decided that if Outworld wins 10 of these Mortal Kombat tournaments, they get to invade Earth. And Outworld is like demons and monsters and stuff like that. Yeah. So, in Mortal Kombat, Outworld has won 9 in a row. They're about to win their 10th consecutive tournament, or they're about to fight the next 10th consecutive tournament, and if they win, that's it for Earth. And so now we need Earth's champions to come together to defend us. So we've got Lord Raiden, who's like that's like the basic premise. Yeah. But then this movie starts with sort of an idyllic scene in 17th century Japan. There's a mom, she's planting a garden.
Is it Japan or China?
It's Japan.
They keep speaking Japanese and Chinese. I was like,
yes.
I keep lost. Anyways.
Yeah. So Hanzo Hisashi is there with his family.
And it's not because they speak Japanese or Chinese. Yeah. It's because when they put the subtitles, they put on the Japanese, Chinese, and they keep changing back and forth.
Yeah, but anyway. So we're at basically it's the home of Hanzo Hisashi and his family. He's got a little boy, a little girl, and they're just so happy and in love, and everything's great. And Hanzo goes off to get water for his wife's garden. We see that she's using a knife, like a dagger, as a gardening tool. So like he's turned his swords into plowshares. Just so lovely. And then the mom goes to check on the baby, and the baby's crying, and she goes, "Oh, why is it so cold in here?" And then the bad guys attack, kill all the guards, come in, and this guy whose name I forgot, but we later find out it's Sub-Zero. He comes in, he's making ice with his hand, and he's like, finally, the bloodline of Hisashi will end.
And the bloodline of Versace is important because they are among the champions of Earth from many generations during all the time that they fight in the Mortal Kombat. The Versaces are important lineage. They are the champions that protect Earth. Not very well since Outworld already won high.
Yeah, but they're doing what they can and they're doing what they can. They've got these cool dragon birthmarks and anyway. So Sub-Zero, he's not calling himself Sub-Zero yet, but he's Sub-Zero. He kills Hisashi's wife and son. They've hidden the baby so nobody can find the baby. Hisashi faces off with Sub-Zero. He grabs the dagger out of the garden and ties a rope to it and is using it to fight Sub-Zero, so we see like the first inklings of Scorpion. Sub-Zero kills him. His body just like combusts, like burns away instantaneously. And then we see Lord Raiden. He arrives like it starts to rain. The rain is very artistically like washing blood from the leaves. It's very cleansing, and then lightning strikes and there's Lord Raiden and he's got the glowing eyes and the hat, and he goes and he picks up the baby and it's like, the bloodline of Hisashi lives on. And that's our opening sequence. It was a great way to open a movie.
It was really
it was solid. I was into it.
Yeah. And then cuts to the future in I guess our
present
times.
day, yeah.
It looks to be America, but we're not sure where. It's not specific. All the time, we never know where things are. It's like they go from America, they go to look for the temple. We don't know if they're going south, if they're going west, north,
Asia somewhere.
Asia, well, we don't know.
Well, it looked like.
It's not clear.
I watch a lot of nature documentaries.
Because
it looked like.
They probably shot in Colorado.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways. So, which is, I don't know if it's like in the beginning of the scenes in the desert, I thought it's like, that's cheap. That looks like they shot. It's like, it does look like they shot, I don't know, somewhere in California. Yeah. And I even picked a good place. But that's not important because the place is just a place they walk for a while. Anyways. So, cuts to the future where we follow this guy called Cole Young. Who's we learn later that's descendant of the Hisashis. Hisashis. But he's a loser.
Yeah.
His speciality, he fights cage fighting, and his speciality is to get beat up. And he does start winning, but then he starts getting beat up, and the guy beat the crap out of him. So he has a family, So we realize that he's being followed by Jax, another Mortal Kombat champion. It's like, hey, we need you. Pretty much, he tried to recruit him, but then Sub-Zero attacks, and so we have our first fight. In present times, Sub-Zero and Jax that ends up losing his arms. Not a surprise if you know the game, or the other movies. Anyways, one thing that's interesting is the actor, one of the actors, the main character actually. He was giving an interview. He's doing the rounds. He's doing the press tour.
Louis Tan is the actor's name.
Huh?
Louis Tan.
Is it? Okay, I think it was that one. He was saying that like some of the fighting that he loved, some of the fighting scenes that it's like, hey, they not even used it. So there's more footage that never made the theater version. Maybe in the extended edition. We'll see. Maybe when the home release. So. Jax sent the Cole's family away and fight Sub-Zero and say, hey, go to Ohio, and it's Ohio, right?
It was Idaho. Ohio.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Go to this place and find
Sonya
Blade.
So that's probably the only time we have a reference where things are. So go to Chester, Ohio.
Sure.
No, not Columbus. Anyways, he goes somewhere, so he goes there. First, he leaves his family in the middle of nowhere in the foggiest hotel he could find.
Yeah.
When they arrive at the hotel, I made a joke in my head. So I was like, let's stop here. It looks like a very safe place.
You know, it's definitely not the setting for a horror movie. That's super sketch, isolated motel. The funkiest hotel.
It's like you literally cannot see nothing on both sides, in front or in the back.
Yeah.
It's just a hotel. It's like kind of a cheap setting. Anyways, so he leaves the family there because the Sub-Zero is following the orders of Shang Tsung from all the world, follow the champions, kill the champions before the tournament, so, there's no tournament. And
which is cheating, by the way, and
yes.
he does reveal that that's how they've won the last 9.
Yes.
They've been cheating.
Yeah.
Typical Outworld.
And they know shit about cheating. So, and he follows the people with the marks. Mm-hmm. That's why he fought checks in whatever the place was, and then he gonna go look for Cole. So Cole leaves the family. He's not gonna look for you. They're gonna look for me. So he go to Ohio, talk to Sonya. Mm-hmm. We meet Kano, which turns out to be a very funny character. Mm-hmm. And we find out that Kano got the mark as well. Not because he's a worthy champion, because he ended up killing the champion in a very evil way. And
it seems that's how most of these people get their marks, because they've killed somebody who had a mark.
Yes. The Hasashis are the only because he has since birth, mm-hmm. so he is in the lineage. Everybody else gets by fighting a champion and beating the champion. Mm-hmm. So it's a mark of a champion. It's earned, and in Cole's cases because it was earned by his mm-hmm. ancestors, and they're going through lineage.
Mm-hmm. And at this point, Cole has started having like these weird visions of. Man. We know that he's seeing Hanzo Hisashi, but he's seeing just this man like in hell, like surrounded by fire and all this. Mm-hmm. So he's starting to have these weird visions. Anyway. Yeah.
So he talks to Sonya, and Sonya has this research, this extended mm-hmm. research about Mortal Kombat throughout history, and she went to Brazil to arrest someone, a guy that had superpowers, and she's mm-hmm. getting in touch with this fringe aspects of Mortal Kombat that in our world. Mm-hmm. And so there we get the audience, and Cole gets understanding of where everything is going on, mm-hmm. as she explained the tournament and all. And there's this temple where apparently the champions go to train and go to learn. Mm-hmm. And Kano say, I know what it is. But before they go to the temple, a reptile shows up and they fight. And mm-hmm. Kano gets like scratches in his eyes. Mm-hmm. He doesn't lose an eye like the original one or the game. Yeah. He just gets scratched. Mm-hmm. And Reptile looked way better on this one. Do you remember Reptile on the other one, right?
I don't actually.
It was like this tiny reptile.
Oh yeah.
And he jumps into a ninja statue, and he starts fighting like the ninja.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know this is way cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they fight him together, and they went together. So they go to the temple, mm-hmm. and there's the banter between Kano.
Yeah.
And Sonya.
Which is exacerbated by the fact that Kano has a mark and Sonya doesn't.
Yeah.
She's not one of Earth's champions.
Which is like, he's a bad guy, right?
Yeah.
Bad guy. Mm-hmm. And the sake of Earth it's relying on the champions. It's like, way before Cole shows up, she could like, click, cut him, get the mark. I will save her.
Yeah, like I feel like this is a pretty, especially like within the realm of Mortal Kombat. Like in this universe, this is a pretty cut and dry decision. Yeah. Like
he's
kill the guy and take his mark. He's incompetent. Yeah. He's a douche.
Yeah, no, there was nothing that's like, and he only proves that more and more throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Who knows? Anyways, so they go to the temple, and we met mm-hmm. some classic characters.
Which I think was shot in Australia. I just checked the IMDb page. They filmed in the US and Australia.
Okay.
I think Australia.
Okay. Sure.
It was on a continent. We've narrowed it down to 3, so.
Yeah.
But I think it was Australia.
But it kind of I don't know. The cast, just a little mm-hmm. Comma here. The cast is very there's nobody big. right?
No, yeah.
So
I think the only person I really recognized was Hanzo, because he's in Westworld and he's a big Japanese actor.
Yeah.
Hiroyuki Sanada.
And Raiden was in Thor and Thor 2 and Thor 3, and he's Hogun, the only Japanese Asian looking character on the show, so you would
he kind of stands out, but
even if you don't remember him, oh, he's the Asian guy.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but still,
everybody else, Jimmy from Supergirl. That's it's so weird. I don't know. After the movie, I went to IMDb to check some details, and I saw his picture, and it's he's so small and skinny, and in the movie he's so big.
He did beef up a lot for this.
Oh, I don't know. I almost think it's his CGI.
No,
because he was too big. When the metal arms are too big, you understand because they're metal arms.
Sure.
But when his arms are big, it kind of yeah, maybe there's something there. So when they make the metal arms, it will not look too much bigger than his arms. But
wouldn't it be easier to animate smaller metal arms than it would be to CGI his whole torso, the whole film?
I don't know. Maybe not CGI. Maybe some sort of makeup trick.
I think he just worked out a lot.
Yeah. Anyways, so
he also had a nice mustache,
Because one other reason I think is if it's natural, it probably is natural. He worked out for it, right? And on Supergirl, he was a superhero for a while. He never bothered.
Barely.
He never bothered, beefing up for being the Guardian.
Well, it's not like he was. I don't know. We're not talking about Steve Rogers pre-serum. He wasn't this skinny little nerd. He was just. Yeah. He was just lean.
Yeah, but
and
on this one,
he's all Mortal Kombat.
But on this one, he was
these are my guns.
Yeah, it was he's finding super Zeus 6'2", yeah. Anyways. But so there's him. That's known for American audiences on television. If you weren't Supergirl.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But so basically what we're saying is not big names.
And which makes me think maybe is some usually when just a lot of people we don't know is all the way to Australia because they guess locally. The British, but again, people that watch British TV might recognize a lot of people that American audiences do not. Anyways, going back to the story. So they get to the temple. We meet classic characters, Liu Kang and Kung Lao, and we find Lord Raiden is there, and then Ko wants to be trained, and then Lord Raiden goes the classic, you're too old.
They have to find their what is it the Kana?
Arcana, something like that. I swear it was Arcana, but probably not. Anyway.
Basically, they have to tap into their superpowers, but they're running out of time.
Yeah,
because Outworld is cheating, and there's only 3-4 champions left, and anyway.
Which is not. Then we learn at the end of the movie that the Raiden has the whole list. You're gonna go and find the others.
Yes.
So
Liu Kang, they get to this desert, they're finding the temple, and Liu Kang greets them, and at some point he says my job is to seek out the champions. Dude, you've done a terrible job.
Yeah.
First of all, you're not gonna find them in this tiny, isolated, unknown temple in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
And second of all, anyway. There's a couple plot holes, but Mortal Kombat is not a film to overthink.
That's So when we go to Sonya's lair with all the murder wall kind of the research she has, there's something that says Mortal Kombat. It's in English.
In English, on this ancient wall. So,
anyways. Moving on.
Yeah.
So that's
how did Lord Raiden lose the Hisashis? He had the daughter. How does a god lose?
He lost the
bloodline,
Oh yeah.
How? I don't know.
I mean, I would assume it was on purpose.
Maybe.
But it wasn't clear. The movie doesn't
anyway,
tell us.
Minor plot holes. Don't overthink it. Just enjoy it.
Yeah. No, it's fun, but it's like there's some stuff that's like when the family dies in the beginning of the movie, they're inside. When the guy comes and finds them, they are outside. It's like. Anyways, like, what? The guy killed them inside and brought them outside?
Yeah.
Anyways.
For dramatic purposes.
yeah. It's like, the light is better outside. Let's kill them outside.
It'll be a way better moment.
Besides the fact that the kid's crying, I guess it was like, let's go outside, because when the kid starts crying, the bad guys do not hear the kid.
I don't know, man. Like I said, you can't overthink it because it doesn't stand up well.
So they start training, and there's another plot hole. Maybe it's not a plot hole. Maybe it's just a time displacement thing. But they start training, and then they start finding their powers. Who Kano find like lasers through his eyes when the guy pissed him off, and he got pissed off because he's a jerk. So the guy started being a jerk back to him. So anyways, he got his powers, and Crowe started getting beat up, and then Raiden said, "Go home. You need to see your family." And then Goro shows up, and they fight. And to protect his family, he got his arcana, his powers, which are kind of weird. It's like a weird-looking shirt.
Yeah, he gets like super shirt, and then like a couple of like, I don't know what you call those sticks, but basically, shocker, like his power comes from his love of his family, and basically his power is being able to take a hit, along with his formidable fighting skills. But yeah.
Anyways,
not much of a twist.
I always have to check. I'm not sure if that character is in the games. I mean, I know some of the games. I played the originals, but the game develops so big that there's a lot of characters that I didn't recognize. But so with his powers back, they go back to the temple, whatever that is, and surprise Kano betrayed them.
What?
And help the bad guys get in. And then they start fighting, and then the pig's like, I fight this, I fight that, I fight that. And one thing that they mention in the someone mentions, like, they want a Mortal Kombat, we're gonna give them a Mortal Kombat. So technically this is not Mortal Kombat. This is before the Mortal Kombat. So the movie is called Mortal Kombat, but Mortal Kombat might be in the second movie. Because at the end of this movie, there's like Raiden sells the gang sells the guys to look for the other champions, because now there's more. And so there's a tease for a character, what's his name, Johnny Cage from the original game. But then they start fighting, and this is the cool fighting sequences, and there's fatalities, and there's
they work in some of that.
Yeah.
Some of those terms
lines,
pretty nicely.
Yeah.
Like
flawless victory.
Yeah, Kung Lao, he like kills this guy and then it's like flawless victory.
Yeah. And flawless victory,
slick.
For those that are not familiar with the game, is when you beat the other character without losing any health.
Without taking it. Yeah.
And that's what happens. He's like waiting, the girl flies, and as she flies, he cuts her in half, pretty much.
Yeah.
And she never touches him. Some cool elements about the two of the characters. Raiden transport not only himself but anybody else through light, which is not a surprise. It's the same as in the game. But Shang Tsung transport people through shadows, through darkness. That was a pretty cool development. So
Sonya, they split up and they take on. They split up the good guys and bad guys so they have like more even teams and better chance of defeating the Outworlders. And Sonya faces off with Kano and finally kills him and takes his mark and gets her own powers.
Yes.
So I guess this is a tricky thing with any kind of adaptation. Like, it's hard to fit in a plot twist. This one, even not being really familiar with any of the source material, there wasn't anything that was pretty predictable.
Yeah.
But it was fun, but there wasn't anything shocking.
Because Kano was like very funny, I thought they would keep him longer, but I kind of knew there was like he's a traitor. He's a bad guy.
Yeah.
He's gonna die. So and it happened. And
it
so,
was the best way to resolve Sonya's issue. Like
and Sonya need the
she needs
mark.
the mark.
Yeah. So
it had to go. It had to be done.
Yeah. So they fight the bad guys and the main bad guy Shang-Chi, the wizard, witcher, whatever. Tried to fight Raiden, and he's send him away. And the apex is when Sub-Zero shows up to fight with Crowe, but then Crowe receives the help of the original Scorpion, Hasashi, that comes from.
He returns from hell.
On the world.
It's like I spent 400 years in hell preparing for this.
The mask, remember this face, and then they start fighting. But before they start fighting, Scorpion throws the dagger into Sub-Zero. Come over here!
It's a pretty cool fight.
Classic line from the game.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, come over here. It's like they do a special. He throws the harpoon, the dagger, with the chain, and come over here and bring the guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. A lot of the lines.
That was just a cool moment.
Oh yeah, no, that's straight from the game. Like there's a moment where Liu Kang is swiping, what's his bucket, Kano's leg.
Yeah.
And he does it, he falls, he does it, he falls, he does it, he falls. And it was one of the things on the first game. It's like if you would get to a character at a certain point in a certain moment, and you would do that, it would work.
Yes.
It's like swipe. It would work. Swipe. You would have to get out. Otherwise, you could lose the fight. Yeah, you could lose the fight there.
Excuse me.
So there's this moment. There's a joke about it. So Sub-Zero and Scorpion, pretty cool fight. For me, it was probably the only beef in the game was like the Scorpion. They hold Scorpion all the way to the end, and it was like. It was awesome, but it's I know Scorpion and Sub-Zero the biggest in the game. The yellow and the blue ninja.
Yeah, with their masks. So.
And of
so
course,
current.
And of course the specials. Sub-Zero uses ice, and there's a moment I don't know if you notice. That Scorpion's gonna jump and kick Sub-Zero. Okay. And there's a Sub-Zero made out of ice.
Yes.
That's another special from the game. Yeah.
Okay.
What happens in the game is
cool.
you do the special, and then you create this the copy of your character in ice, Sub-Zero, and then you guys gonna jump to kick you, and instead of kicking you, kick the ice and becomes ice.
Wow.
And then you go poof, 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 poof. Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, so straight from the game, and Scorpion, the whole taking the mask and spitting fire into his enemy.
Yeah, that was a cool moment.
And he wins, and everybody's happy. And Lord Raiden said, "Hey, gang, let's go find the champions."
Yeah.
And
so they set themselves up nicely for sequels because Raiden's like, "Yeah, let's go find the champions," and then Shang-Tsung, he has this line that makes it sound like Sub-Zero's not really dead. Like they could bring him back if they wanted to. They left that door.
Following traditions of video game, especially Magic, and nobody ever dies. So it could easily be. There's also Kung Lao had his soul sucked by Shang-Tsung, so maybe they gotta somehow find his soul and bring back.
Yeah, I was thinking of that.
There's always because in the original one. The original Mortal Kombat movie, in the beginning we see Liu Kang like he wakes up with having nightmares because I think his brother, I can't remember, his soul has been sucked by Shang-Tsung, and at the end he sort of meet him, send his soul, to a better place than Shang-Tsung. Yeah, so and there's a lot more. We never seen Raiden fighting. We never seen Shang-Tsung fighting.
That was another recognizable face, though.
What?
Shang-Tsung.
Yeah, he was in Dark Knight.
Yeah, he's in Dark Knight. He's been in a bunch of. He's just one of those faces. He comes up all the time. So. Yeah.
He's a I mean, I guess he's not young anymore, but he was young looking Asian on on Dark Knight.
Yes.
But now he's getting old, so he's getting older roles.
As happens.
Yeah, I mean because he could none of these people were in Mulan, right? Mulan had everybody Asian, and none of these people were in Mulan, right?
I feel like this. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. We only saw that once, so it usually takes me a couple times.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's big in. I think he's big in like Asian cinema, not so much in ours.
If you make a movie in China, you could be big because China's so big. You know, you have to be successful. Or Bollywood, you know.
Yeah.
It's so big, it's so many people that it's like if it goes to the theaters, it might mean that you might have more people watching your failed movie there than your successful movie.
Successful one here.
Anyways, but he was good. He was really good in the character. Yeah, and they live happily ever after, looking for the
more
new
champions.
Yeah.
So it was a fun movie. I think one review I saw said like it's exactly what you'd expect, and I feel like that's pretty accurate. But they did a really good job.
It was better than. I mean, they did. I mean, you have to watch the show, but because when you're dealing with a show, and you're gonna talk about more when we talk about Winter Soldier, when you're dealing with making a TV show or a series or whatever the series will go, you have time,
sure,
to develop, and of course you're gonna have to fill some of that time with stuff that's not important. In a movie, it's you can't waste much time. You have to go.
Yeah,
and considering the time they had, I think it was a decent job. For starters, as I said when we left the theater, it feels like a 2-hour pilot because it's a start. It's a setup, and I hope for the next one, if there's one, it's like now you have to create a story beginning, middle, end, or at least middle chapter to go from here, because they can't keep going for it's sort of a episodic feeling for a second movie, because they did one, they might do two, but maybe they're not gonna be able to do three.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's like even James Bond, that has like some 30 something movies, is you might think is episodic in some ways, but is actually not, because every single movie is like beginning, middle, end. The story is over. Move on to a different story. Only in very few instances, in this new ones more, but before this new reboot, on the old ones, I think only 2, maybe 3 movies connected in a way. Even though we would see some of the same characters. And even the same actors in some, like almost all of the movies. Q, the guy that was Q for like 20 plus movies.
Yeah.
Same as M until he died. But it's beginning, middle, and end. It's not like, this is the beginning of a series. No, this is a whole thing.
Each one can stand alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully in the next one they're gonna work in a way they're gonna make, even if it's part of a trilogy or 5-ology, whatever they decide. But yeah, Mortal Kombat is open on theaters everywhere, and it's available on HBO Max until the end of May. Yes. As the Warner movies are doing. They premiere on theaters, HBO Max for the first month they there.
Yep.
Okay.
Super rated R, super fun. Enjoy.
That's one that for me that was another thing. I thought it would be more rated R, more blood, more, because the trailers, they kind of show pretty much all the big bloody scenes, and they spread it throughout the movie. It's not that much. When they happen, sure.
I wasn't missing it.
But I mean, throughout the movie, it's like, considering that game, every character has 3 or 5 different ways of gruesomely killing people. It's like,
It was plenty gruesome. Anyway, okay, let's move on. We've wrapped up a couple series this week.
Yeah, Winter Soldier and the Falcon, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Black Falcon and White Winter Soldier, whatever they call.
He's clearly a big fan.
Finished. It was in the. I mean, I thought it was okay. It wrapped up this week, the final episode, and with the big surprise of the season, what they were saying is like. It's like, this show's gonna define the next phase of the Marvel universe. They keep saying that for a while.
But that's what Marvel does. Like, it's a lot of hype and a lot of tease. So much tease. Sometimes they follow through. Like, Endgame and Infinity War, I feel like finally lived up to the kind of tease that they were always giving. This doesn't, and I wish they wouldn't do so much teasing, because then, like, I feel like I would have enjoyed WandaVision a lot more. I would have enjoyed this a lot more if there wasn't so much tease. I wasn't always like waiting for the next big thing. When you tease too much hype too much.
But the tease on WandaVision, it was teased. It was ridiculous at some point.
Yeah.
But it was entertaining. It was like, ooh, what's this? Ooh, what's that? You know? It was like, even though it was like, it was all on the audience's heads.
Yeah.
I like that, you know. Even if the end is like disappointing, you know, like that
that's
show.
What I'm saying. Like,
that show we watched. What was it called? The Nicole Kidman, and it's like, oh, who did it? Who did it?
Now I should have known.
That's a book. Undoing. Yeah. You know, it's the process is entertaining. Same with Lost. You know, it's like everybody is this, and at the end it's like, oh, okay, it was nothing. It was not that big of a deal. It was like they showed like 3 seconds on the last season. They do like every episode they do a whole thing that's basically a theory in the next one, and then, this is the island is where the Garden of Eden was, where the angel fell, Lucifer, yada yada, and at the end it was like, yeah. So that's entertaining on that.
It is,
so
but I just
on
feel
WandaVision,
like when you hype too much, when you tease too much, then it's just a series of letdowns.
Yeah.
Instead of being able to just enjoy the show. For me, I felt like that's what happened with WandaVision, and now I could go back and watch it and just like enjoy it without being like, oh, well, that was disappointing. You know.
I think watching WandaVision
I enjoyed Winter Soldier or Falcon and Winter Soldier quite a bit because I had zero expectations. They were very low. I ignored all the teases and got to enjoy
I think I mean, if anything, with Falcon and Winter Soldier, for me it wasn't teasing. It was more like, hey, remember this? Oh, it's different now. I'm rich now. I am a baron.
Oh my gosh, Zemo! Like, the character they did here was fine. The character they did in Civil War was fine. But they are entirely different.
Yeah.
They are totally different people.
Yeah.
And you can't try to tell me that that's the same guy because it's not.
No, it's not.
And that was just insulting.
Yeah. Anyways, and they do a lot of that on the Marvel Universe. And this one was shameless. This one was bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
But just a quick thing about WandaVision. I think watching WandaVision a second time would be extremely boring. Because once you know everything, you know, it's like... And that's one thing that Disney, for this show specific, I think it was clever to do like week by week. Because if it was like the whole show, like Netflix does for that show, it would be...
Yeah, no, you're right. It's not very bingeable.
For that show.
Not every show is.
So, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they were promised it would be a 6-hour movie. And it was if it would be a 6-hour movie, it would be, it's like the structure, the writing on it, it's extremely, it's structurally bad. The third act is you have 6 hours, so by math the third act would be the last 2 hours.
Sure.
Right, and it's the last, I don't know, 40 minutes, 30 minutes, if so. Yeah. And
it needed some heavy editing.
Yeah, and
I feel like,
and first of all, the characters, they are sidekicks, and they were sidekicks in the books forever, and they're not that interesting by themselves, and that depends on the writing. So you have to have a really good writer, or even a really long shot to make them shine. You know, like you have classic sidekicks that shone and became like great characters. You have Robin that became Nightwing. You have Kid Flash that became the Flash. That most of like my generation, Flash was Wally West. The kid that saw his uncle dying on doing Crisis on Infinite Earths, and had to go to that tragedy, and as a meta-human kid had to grow up and take the mentor of his mentor and uncle and become the Flash, and too many years he had to deal with what Uncle Barry would do. Am I worthy to do this? Like all the time, the whole psychological conflict inside him. So there's a lot of good things for sidekicks. For Falcon and for the Winter Soldier, it's first of all, the Winter Soldier on the MCU, he came from this villain.
Yeah. And like a really bad villain, and it was mind control.
So there's a lot of issues with that already. So to suddenly make him a hero, and a hero that people will love and admire
and trust,
and be a role model. There's an issue right there. And Falcon, it was like a sidekick per se, because he never really shone on the MCU until this point. So to bring these two and drop them is like, okay, go now, you're heroes, you're gonna be the main stars. So there's a lot of issues with that.
Yeah.
But they did a job.
They did a job. I feel like the timing. I feel like the main thing this suffered from was just timing. They could have cut like the first 2, maybe 3 episodes could have been 1 or maybe 2. Like there could have been a lot of condensing stuff at the beginning that would have given them more time to explore the interesting things towards the end, like Sam actually becoming Captain America, and John Walker went through, like, we see John Walker like become Captain America, and then there's this crisis where he's not, but then all of a sudden he is again. So we have this kind of uncomfortable, he's Captain America, but everybody knows that he shouldn't be, for like 4 episodes. And then within 2 episodes, he like kills a guy, is kicked out of Captain America, and then is welcomed back as U.S. agent. Like, bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
That all should have been pushed back so that could have been given time to happen. And then like Sam and Bucky like becoming like developing their relationship with each other should have happened right at the beginning, so that they could have time to develop as like to do the really cool stuff and develop as heroes as we go along. So many things could have been like gotten rid of, so that we could have spent more time on the good stuff and the interesting stuff.
And then we have Bucky personal issues with his past. We have Wilson personal issues with his family. And then they bring Isaiah's character. It's like, it seems like they took too much. They tried to explore too much in a period of time. It's like, guys, you don't have the time for this, or maybe they had the time but didn't have the talent, because it's tough to comprise all that.
And it can be done, but it is
And then
hard.
there was Walker, and then there was Walker family, which was like, oh, okay, it was just to be there. And then there was like later this Contessa and this Walker's friend that dies, and it becomes a tragedy, and everybody's forgotten, and it's like, they tried to do a lot.
For me, it felt like season 8 of Game of Thrones, where like some things were stretched out, and then other things were just like, bam, happened way too fast.
Yeah,
it was just bad timing. A lot of it,
and of course the bad guys. And of course the power broker that turns out to be Sharon Carter's the bad guy now. It's like, and then they tease the post-credit scene as like, she's even bad now. She's working for the U.S. inside the U.S. government, and then it's like one war with one people. They're still like inside places like Hydra. So it's like, they put a lot there, and they were not able to do it properly. But
here's what I think too. Like this whole time, I was feeling like, okay, there's definitely gonna be a second season. But now I'm thinking, since they've announced Captain America 4, I feel like this is just a big setup for a movie. And I wish it'd been allowed to sort of stand on its own.
But I mean, they have to pick a lane if they're gonna move in. They announced that the same people will be involved. They have to pick a lane. If they try to do the same, it's gonna kind of suck at saying, because there's, you know, if you couldn't do it in 6 hours dealing with all that properly, imagine doing it in 2 hours.
Yeah. I don't know.
So yeah,
we'll see.
Winter Soldier and the Falcon and the Soldier, or the new Captain America, since the big plot twist at the end was Wilson becoming Captain America.
He was pretty cool though.
What?
I thought it was pretty cool when he became Captain America and combining, like, you know, using his wings and the shield and all this stuff. Like,
I mean, that's straight from the book.
I know, but it was very gratifying. It was very cool to see. Okay,
it wasn't a surprise.
No, it wasn't a surprise, but it was cool.
It was, yeah. But there's like the issues with movies and characters that have long runs on books or comic books is, especially, not especially, but in this case specifically, it's timing. You know, in the books, Captain America is Captain America for like decades, and then when you bring a new Captain America, first you know he's not gonna last because Steve Rogers is still Captain America. But when you bring a new one, even if it was Bucky, like in the books, and then Wilson, you know that's a phase, that's a saga. It might last 6 months, a year, maybe 2 years, but even then, at the end, something will happen, and it's like, Steve died, and Bucky became Captain America. Okay, but after a year or so, somehow Steve's gonna come back. His body is being held by shield in ecstasy, trying to recover the serum, whatever. So there's these issues. So when you do that with characters in books, you know that first it's not gonna last. The new character is gonna come back, and second, the main character was the main character for like decades. When you're doing movies, like technically, Rogers wasn't the Captain America for that long, because we have
He really wasn't.
6, 8
There's the
movies.
Movie. He was in Ice.
Yeah.
And then he came back, and it was just a few years.
And I'm talking about filmic. And how many movies it was. So technically, it was like 3 Captain Americas, like 3 or 4 Avengers. So it wasn't. It was like 10 years in a timeline on our timeline. And then you have Sam, that's the Captain America, but again, the same issue is going to happen. Rogers might be back, even if he's old. It happened in the books. And yeah, so it's a problem with all the characters. It's just like when they're going to do they want to do a new Superman or Miles Morales, you know. It sounds like it's about color, but it's not. It's about timing. It's like, especially on a small. It's a still small universe. It's only 10 years. You know, you have Iron Man.
The MCU, you mean?
Or the DC movies. You know, have Justice League. Sure. It's like suddenly you're already going for, you know, a character that's. Anyways, Captain America. Sam Wilson, Captain America. I think that's how they called him in the books. Sam Wilson, Captain America. Yeah. Or Falcon. No, there wasn't Falcon. That was Sam Wilson. Yeah. It's gonna gain a new movie soon on the MCU. Who knows? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Quick news.
Yeah, quick news. So, sticking with the Marvel Universe, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. We've seen a couple trailers. Yes. And I think it looks really good. I know nothing about this character.
Looks interesting. It's another big retcon slap on the face of people that pay attention, because the Ten Rings was one thing on Iron Man 1. Was a mysterious organization.
Oh yeah.
The Mandarin. And then Iron Man 3, he shows up as a threat. The great Ben Kingsley is
but he ends up being a fake.
Huh? What? Yeah, it ends up being a fake. And then they said, no. And that's the stupid idea that a friend of mine in college has. Like, no, that guy is actually fake for the real guy. It's like this whole. It's like, and it's like, yeah. His idea was as stupid what Marvel is doing. It's like retconning, because I guess they don't want to create a new character. They want to, you know, this is like very Asian located, like the characters and the storylines. So I guess they could create something new, but no, they're gonna use the one they use. But the problem is they use it already and use badly. So,
Yeah.
but it looks interesting. We'll see.
To me, the trailer looks like what I had hoped Iron Fist would be, but Iron Fist was a colossal disappointment. Yeah. This one actually looks like it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah. No, it looks interesting. The character, honestly, the books and the character for me was never that interesting.
Yeah.
In Brazil, I don't know if there was a subtitle here, but in Brazil, he was called a Master of Kung Fu. I want to see the Master of Kung Fu. I mean, I love Daredevil. The guy only fights with his fists. But I don't know. There was nothing. There was maybe the antagonist that was never that interesting for me.
You do need a good antagonist.
The Mandarin for me was more interesting on the Iron Man books than on anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just a quick one about this one. Apparently, it didn't look good. It didn't work well in China. Apparently, China audiences didn't like the trailer.
Not into it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We'll see.
Good for them. I look forward to it. Okay, and then last thing from Marvel is that Russell Crowe. We already knew he'd been cast in Thor, and now we know who he's going to be playing.
It's going to be Zeus.
Yeah.
The god of.
Wait, what?
Hold
on.
So yeah, we knew they're gonna have the God Killer, the God Eater, whatever it's like. Christian Bale's gonna be so it's gonna be more gods. Maybe you're gonna finally see Hercules.
Yeah.
Great Hercules that Marvel destroyed last couple of years.
Well, we'll see.
Because he was. Hercules is one of the characters that like Iceman from the X-Men. Marvel decides no, he's gay. It's like, no, he's not. It's like 400,000 million evidences that he's not in the books. Oh no, he was just pretending.
They just needed someone to be.
Yeah, so this instead of creating a new character. Anyways, so yeah, gonna be gods in the new Thor movie. Interesting that they're gonna go for their route with all the gods.
The other god of thunder.
Yeah.
And lightning. Anyway, we'll see. Over at DC/Warner Brothers, we've had a rumor or a hint of what could have been or what might be, but Dave Bautista...
He still wants it.
Yeah, he still wants it. Dave Bautista apparently approached Warner and said, I want to be Bane. And they're like, well, we're not doing anything with Bane. He said, well, that's great. I want to be Bane. Which makes so much sense, right? This giant Latino guy.
Yes, he fits the character, and DC started the whole thing with the Joker, and there was rumors that they would do more dark, black label villain movies. So,
yeah.
But Bane origins, even though the longer, it's take decades in the prison, but once he becomes Bane, he goes straight to Gotham to take down the Bat. So it's kind of, I don't know.
It would be cool, and I think he makes a lot of sense, and he doesn't even need a lot of makeup and prosthetic or whatever. Just give him a backpack and call it a day.
But the Venom makes him bigger, even though he's big. The Venom makes him bigger. So
I don't know if you've seen him recently, but he's a very large man.
Yeah, but it's there's a difference between how bigger he is.
This is true.
And how
That's
bigger
true. And
he
Bane
is.
Yeah,
he broke the Bat. It's not any
superhuman big.
Yeah.
Anyway, that would be very cool to see. I hope that happens. Next up, Christmas 2021. Dominic West has joined the cast of Downton Abbey 2. That's right.
Was he on the show?
Huh?
Was he on the original show?
I don't think so. I don't remember.
Because when I read the news, I thought it was okay, some character is coming back.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything to me. I thought it was something like that.
I honestly don't remember if he was on the show. This is the second Downton Abbey.
Do we know who's he gonna be?
I don't know.
Okay.
I couldn't even remember who he was, and then I looked him up. I was like, oh, it's that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so again, this is the second Downton Abbey movie. The first one was not necessary and was utterly delightful. This one is not necessary, and I imagine will be utterly delightful.
What do you mean not necessary?
I mean, they wrapped up the story really well. It's one of the very few really well done season finales with the show. There was nothing else to do, but they came out with a movie that was just like fan service. Let's go back and hang out at the house, and I don't know, the king's coming. There's no more story to tell there.
Yeah, but they did tell a story in the movie.
Well, sure, they picked some... Anyway, that's what I'm saying. It's not needed. I'm happy about it.
So that movie is after the show?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's completely after the show?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe the next one will be the same.
Yeah, I suspect.
Okay.
I guess, like, all the loose ends are tied up. Everybody's happy.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, but you don't...
You
don't need a tragedy or a problem to be solved to continue a story, you know? You can create a new one.
But that's all Downton Abbey was.
Huh?
Tragedies, problems,
that's what I'm saying.
drama.
But that's what I'm saying. You don't have...
And the show ended when they were like, okay, everybody's drama's done.
You don't need a problem, remaining problem that was never fixed to tell another story. You can create a new problem, and the problem was a plot to kill the queen.
King, yes, you're right. Yeah. Well, either way, I stand by what I said. Narratively, it's not necessary. Am I happy about it? Yes. Will I watch it? Absolutely. But anyway, I very much look forward to it.
Yeah, narratives are not necessary, people. We don't need new stories, apparently. Last but not least...
you think you're going to hate this. You said if never mind. Go. You got it.
No, I think it's like... You know, if it was I never watched the show. I thought the movie was interesting. It was entertaining, and to see it's not necessary. I think it's like wow, that like destroys the movie. Done.
It's like a sequel to a fairy tale. Like they live happily ever after.
But that's the thing about that is the quality of writing. In the end, it's about writing. That's the thing about stories. Stories are never done because life is never done.
Sure.
Even if we die, our story will continue through others, and humankind history gonna keep going.
Okay.
It's about the quality of writing. Sometimes you can continue a story in a really great way. Sometimes you can do like The Last Jedi and do crap. Okay?
Yeah, but, no argument there.
Anyways, last but not least, How I Met Your Mother is going to get a sequel, spin-off, whatever they're calling it. It's going to be called How I Met Your Father with Hilary Duff.
On
Hulu. It's the second attempt at that. They did try a pilot for a show called How I Met Your Father.
It was actually called How I Met Your Dad.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which one is this new one?
No, this one is How I Met Your Father.
The other one's How I Met Your Dad.
Yeah, the first attempt was How I Met Your Dad.
Okay,
Why? I don't know.
I did watched it, and it was, after so many years with those other characters, when they bring new characters, they expect that they're gonna, and you have no connection, that none of the other characters are on this pilot.
Yeah.
So, or where, but in a way, there was like, anyways. So on Hulu with Hilary Duff, we'll see. Maybe I don't see the names of the same people involved, so I don't know.
It could be they're just taking a similar premise or a similar format or.
Yeah, but when they call it a sequel, I would assume.
Have they called it a sequel?
Yeah, I saw someone not a sequel, reboot, something like
reboot?
That. Yeah. It's not like they call it a show on the same format to How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
They literally calling it. There's a connection, but I don't see any people involved. And I don't mean the actors. I mean the producers, writers, showrunners.
Okay.
Anyways, that's it for this week. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay, so see you next week. May the force be with you.
Live long and prosper.
Bye.
Bye.